In the gaming world, we've seen no shortage of people come and go through the circus known as the FGC. Whether newcomers come into a game that's hot off the iron and begin taking a swing at it like a piñata, or longtime veterans jump into different pools of games, there's always someone and something new coming into the fighting game genre. Mortal Kombat 1 is one of the more recent instances of this, and it spawned quite a bit of pro play, casuals, competitives, and more importantly for today's discussion, streamers. Hell, I even became one. It's very common, especially in the Mortal Kombat community, to see people get so publicly stupid in regards to how they conduct themselves in online lobbies, streams, and more. However, by far the wildest experience I've had observing this community is coming across the insanity of 6ARAKIN. I know I'm a bit late to this topic, but it's true. 6ARAKIN might be the most egotistical and delusional Mortal Kombat player out there. As far as streamers go, though, he certainly takes the win for that, something he can rarely do in Mortal Kombat 1. So today I figured we could discuss how 6ARAKIN broke into the Mortal Kombat scene, how he blew up in popularity, and how the FGC can be especially difficult for newcomers who aren't acquainted with the community that they proudly choose to cause trouble in. Before we start, hi, I'm Zak Not Kyle, or Zak for short, and I talk about video games as they pertain to creative writing and popular culture. I'm currently studying for my BFA and MFA in creative writing, and I'd love it if you stuck around for some funny, goofy content. Subscribe with the silly red button, like this video, and comment your thoughts on the situation below. Go ahead and follow me on Twitter and Instagram, those links are in the description. I also have a Discord server you guys can join, and I stream on my YouTube channel a couple times a week if you're interested. And without any further ado, let's get into it. Let's begin by talking about 6ARAKIN prior to Mortal Kombat 1. So before Mortal Kombat 1, Arakin was a UFC streamer on Twitch. Some might say that UFC is technically considered a fighting game by the standard classification in every game genre category on modern consoles. Where UFC and MK1 differ, though, is their core gameplay implementation, which segues into my first major point when discussing how 6ARAKIN makes an absolute mule of himself on streams. And that is, 6ARAKIN does not understand how fighting games in their traditional sense operate. In Mortal Kombat 1, there are 24 characters currently, and 16 cameos. Every option you can consider in terms of pairing, moveset usage, throws, cameo use, meter consumption, and more is open to you, so long as the rest of your gameplay allows for your strings to occur. For example, using a Serena dagger move while I'm in the middle of an Ashra overhead wouldn't work because I am in the air and it becomes a waste of my cameo bar. Or for example, not being able to use a cameo while I just got grabbed by another player. There's also things like frame data, different modes, the unpredictability of opponents, pattern recognition, ease of character use, we are coming back to this, and the use of metas. 6ARAKIN doesn't understand most of these things, and many new players wouldn't unless they do their research. Understanding your characters, how to create good strings, conserving meters, and finding the right use of certain mechanics like throwing are important because knowledge of these things can give you an advantage over the people you fight against. However, learning these things is beyond our subject of this video. 6ARAKIN doesn't use strings over 300 damage ever, and rarely understands basic knowledge of how combos, mix-ups, 50-50 throws, and more basic mechanics explained in the tutorial of Mortal Kombat 1 work, because he would rather use his own power over his streams to ban things or call people cheaters for using basic gameplay functions. Now for my second point. This is going to discuss specifically 6ARAKIN's character choice being Kenshi. Kenshi is his only main in the game right now, and my second point is that he actively screwed himself over by picking the hardest character in the game. For people who may not get why Kenshi is so difficult, let's look at some of the other Mortal Kombat 1 characters with changed movesets based off of form. Characters that change movesets based off of form are not uncommon in fighting games, but there is quite a high bar for them in Mortal Kombat 1. General Shao has different moves he utilizes after certain moves require him to not have his axe in hand, thus changing how he plays. Shao is considered fairly difficult for this due to how axe recovery and proper utilization and transition of his moves works. The closest character to Kenshi in difficulty due to movesets would probably be Shang Tsung though, who uses a different moveset based off of what form you're using for him. The moves completely change and require an input to switch forms, so you're always only controlling one character. Kenshi is so difficult because he has his own moveset and Sento's moveset. Both of them are required to use in order to make the best use of Kenshi, but he is the hardest character in the game for that reason. 6ARAKIN picked him up immediately, didn't understand his functions at all, and then proceeded to make a mule of himself on the internet for all to see on stream because he didn't bother understanding how Kenshi or any other character works. You need to acknowledge how the meta and character movesets work against your main. I didn't get good at Ashra by dicking around with her for a while online and then magically do 430 damage to someone's health bar for fun. I had to lab her for a long time and understand what she did, how she functioned, and how she functioned in relation to other characters and cameos. So now we're going to start looking further into the weird and disgusting behavior shown on 6ARAKIN streams in order to fully paint the picture of who the streamer really is. So let's discuss our third point, being that 6ARAKIN is disgusting towards not only his viewers and his haters, but also towards professional players in the community. ARAKIN has been called out by True Underdog Gaming, Sonic Fox, Toxic Josh, and others already. The Sonic Fox one is actually the most interesting situation because they were just minding their own business and then ARAKIN was talking a ton of shit on Sonic Fox on stream. So they just asked for a round with ARAKIN and actually followed ARAKIN's absolutely asinine rules that he has in stream, and Sonic Fox won. And when Sonic Fox actually beat him using his own weird rules, all ARAKIN could do was insult Sonic Fox's gender and say, "What do you even identify as?" And this is referencing the fact that Sonic Fox is non-binary. And Sonic said they identify as a bad bitch, which is the best response they could have given. On top of this, there's multiple clips of this delusional player asking fans who pay to subscribe to his channel in order to fight him to beg for him to play them or to straight up call him daddy. I should note that 6ARAKIN actually said that brutalities aren't allowed on his channel because he said his stream is supposed to be, quote, kid friendly. So this is like just gross for several reasons. So first of all, you played an M17 game and then said you're making your stream child friendly, and on said child friendly stream you ask your own viewers to pay money to fight you, which I do not see many streamers do often. If anything, most Twitch streamers will ask you to redeem channel points from watching a stream in order to go FT3 with them. And then not only that, you also make them beg to fight you and call you daddy on stream to play against you. Who the fuck do you think you are? I don't care if you're the worst player out there or Sonic Fox or Ninja Killa. No one does that. That's gross, disgusting, and such an abuse of your platform. Interestingly enough, there are debates on if 6ARAKIN is a complete satire or not, but the way he conveys himself is either the best acting I've ever seen or entirely real. Real or not, no one does what this piece of garbage does on stream, ironically, if you are doing satire and understand the repercussions of your actions. So now that we talked about all this, let's discuss why the FGC can be difficult for new players to even break into, leading to the lash outs, rage, delusion, and egotistical nature that 6ARAKIN presents. I think it's a matter of how fighting games work at their core. Games like Mortal Kombat, Tekken, Street Fighter, Skullgirls, and more have a common factor that drives away a lot of people in comparison to multiplayer team-based games like Overwatch, League of Legends, Valorant, and more. It's simply because there's no one else to blame for your actions, only yourself. Scrappy Sensei has a fantastic video called The FGC Esports Dream is Dead, and it talks a lot about this and why fighting games are so grassroots versus being competitive esports most of the time. It's a very good video, highly recommend. Go subscribe to Scrappy, amazing content creator. 1v1 fighting games are competitive, but also very taxing on your confidence as a player. When shit hits the fan and everything goes wrong, the finger will always be pointed back at you. There's nowhere else to really point to. That's why you see so much debate over meta, toxicity, and raging in online lobbies and more. Fighting game players will point the finger anywhere else but themselves in the game unless they're pros, of which case they usually know how to handle it. We're all guilty of it because not being accountable for your own actions and being a bit delulu is always a better feeling than knowing you are wrong in the way you play the game. You need things like understanding, research, accountability, and skill, all things 6ARAKIN does not have. He would rather bend every single rule imaginable, ban throws in almost every character in the game in his streams, all because it is easier to point fingers at everyone but yourself. Deflecting projectiles is much harder than deflecting blame, and maybe deflecting blame is the one thing that 6ARAKIN is skilled at in Mortal Kombat 1. But with that, I'm going to leave this video here. Have you heard of 6ARAKIN? Do you watch 6ARAKIN? Have you seen his rage clips? What's your take on the situation? Have you seen the video where Sonic Fox destroys 6ARAKIN? That was a fun time to watch. Let me know in the comments below. And with that, I am going to go debut my new PNG tuber assets, so catch me on stream with all of those featured. Bye, sis.